We spotlight some of the most popular events on campus, give updates on local businesses, and give an update on Fargo construction projects. You're watching Bison Information Network News. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. One of the most captivating events on campus took place earlier today, the 3-minute thesis competition. It happened this morning in the Memorial Union's Century Theater. 8 graduate students got the chance to present their research against one another. They had to explain them as precisely as possible and only had 3 minutes to do so. Tune in next week as we'll have the interview with the winner of the competition. The NDSU Engineering Department will offer a new major this fall. Environmental engineering will be available as a Bachelor of Science degree starting next semester. Some of the biggest topics addressed in the major program include addressing climate change and designing a future without pollution. This new major falls within the frame of other civil engineering majors already offered. Students interested in the program are asked to contact engineering professor Joel Hansen. Dunbar Hall is being replaced with a new science building that is planned to be completed by late 2022. Construction on the new building will begin by April and has a budget of $51.2 million, provided by state funding mostly. The construction manager overseeing the new science building is Kraus Anderson, a construction company based in Minnesota. The new building will be used for research, and its new interior will help students and staff in achieving their goals. For those interested in future NDSU construction projects, you're asked to contact NDSU Facilities Management. 19th Avenue North is planned to go under reconstruction soon. The reconstruction is a result of frequent snowdrifts that accumulate during winter snowstorms. City Commissioner Dave Pepcorn is collaborating with engineers to plan on raising the level of the road, which would prevent the buildup of snow that's being blown across it. The toll of traffic also plays a part in the damage of the road, so the reconstruction is seen as a benefit. Pepcorn hopes the plan can be completed within the next 3 to 4 years. Students that don't already have extra security in place for their email or Blackbird page are about to. Beginning this Tuesday, the 25th, all current students and staff will be required to have multi-factor authentication for using any NDSU online service that requires a password. This means simply having a password will no longer be enough. Possibilities for the second layer of protection include a third-party cell phone app or a phone call. Those with any questions or concerns are asked to contact the NDSU Help Desk. An update now to a story we told you about last week. The Loaf and Jug near campus that was closed for roof repairs has reopened. Last week we told you the Loaf and Jug had closed in late January without disclosing why. Then they put up close signs on the doors and stopped selling gas. Now, normal operations have started again, and a new roof is there. A restaurant across the street from campus closed its doors recently after only being open for 7 months. Incognito Burrito took over the old Spicy Pie building off 12th Avenue North last summer. The restaurant offered Mexican food such as burritos and quesadillas and was liked by many in the community. The company's final day came on January 31st, according to a post on its Facebook page. Incognito Burrito joins Spicy Pie and Starbucks as those that have moved out of the Bison Block Business District in the last 13 months. Candidates are back on the campaign trail today after one of the most heated Democratic debates. One candidate's team admits their first debate did not go well, while others are trying to capitalize on their strong performances. Ryan Nobles has the latest.
So how was your night last night?
Michael Bloomberg today joking around, hoping to move past his lackluster debate performance, even as his main onstage foe, Elizabeth Warren, kept piling on.
I'll bet he's reaching in his pocket and spending $100 million more on advertising to try to erase everyone's memory of what happened last night.
But at a campaign stop in the Super Tuesday state of Utah, Bloomberg kept his eye on the frontrunner.
If we choose a candidate who appeals to a small base like Senator Sanders, it will be a fatal error.
For his part, Bernie Sanders telling me that Bloomberg's attacks are not what Democratic voters are looking for.
We have more income and wealth inequality today than any time in the last 100 years. Mr. Bloomberg himself is worth more as one person than the bottom 125 million Americans.
Sanders seeming to survive his first debate at the top of the polls, with so much of the focus on the new guy on stage, Bloomberg.
Democrats take a huge risk if we just substitute one arrogant billionaire for another.
I don't think you look at Donald Trump and say, we need someone richer in the White House.
Not just Bloomberg's billions, his opponents also attacked his past. Vice President Joe Biden raising Bloomberg's previous support for New York City's controversial stop and frisk policing.
It's the policy. The policy was abhorrent, and it was, in fact, a violation of every right people have.
While Warren challenged Bloomberg to release women who've alleged sexist and misogynistic behavior by Bloomberg and his company from non-disclosure agreements.
So, Mr. Mayor, are you willing to release all of those women from those non-disclosure agreements so we can hear their side of the story?
We have a very few non-disclosure agreements.
How many is that?
None of them accuse me of doing anything other than maybe they didn't like the joke I told. And let me put, there's agreements between two parties that wanted to keep it quiet, and that's up to them.
Now let's take a look at Fargo's weather for the upcoming week. Today, we continued our recent sunshine trend with a high of nearly 20 degrees. It was a good temperature to walk in despite the slight wind. Tonight, temperatures will not drop much, but winds will increase. Over to our 7-day forecast, we'll be getting a February version of a heat wave. High temperatures will be at or above freezing for the next 4 days. Sunny skies will be common all throughout the weekend before it becomes cloudy again Monday. Tuesday will start a cooler run of weather next week, with lows back down into the single digits and still cloudy skies. By the end of next week, temperatures will remain cool with expected lows near zero. Up next on Bison Information Network News, strutting their stuff, the scenes from a runway exhibition at the heart of campus. One of the most anticipated events of the year for campus attractions made its grand appearance last night. Bison Information Network reporter Lindsay Iverson shows us an inside perspective on NDSU's drag show.
Last night, NDSU students gathered in the Great Plains Ballroom for the annual drag show. 4 drag queens came from the Gay 90s bar in Minneapolis to perform. It is regularly one of the most well-attended campus attraction events.
So our drag show is one of our most well-attended events. Lots of people come because they feel safe, and it's a good community all around that happens up just because people feel like included, and that's what we want. We want people to come and feel like they belong.
While performing, drag queens lip sync and dance to songs from popular artists like Taylor Swift and Lady Gaga while showing off their fabulous outfits. Outside of performances like this, drag queens can compete in competitions for national titles.
I'm a 4-time national title holder in our community. Winning the Oscars, it's like winning Miss Gay USA or Miss Continental or even Miss Gay America. You're considered confirmed in our business. It's like winning the Oscars in your world. So yeah. And I won the older division first because I had just turned 40, and then I went back 5 years later and won the junior division that I started at first, which is really hard to do. So
queens like Shay Larice have performed in drag since the late 80s and have traveled far across the world.
Oh my God, I've been doing drag since I graduated from high school in 1987, and these 2 girls took me to the bar right after I was out of high school, and I started doing, I would say, like 1989. So over 30 years I've been doing this. Yeah. I mean, I've traveled all over the country. I've traveled to Barcelona, Spain, to Hamburg, Germany. I've been to Brazil and Canada performing on little gigs, but all over the United States. And
Brendana, being a trans woman, believes drag helped her discover her true self.
Through drag is what helped me figure out who I was. You know, a lot of people do drag for different reasons. You know, we go through a lot of things in life and with home and families and stuff, and it's a way to escape. And for me, being in school, I was a very shy, quiet, gullible boy. But once I would put that drag on, I felt so confident. I felt like I could do anything, that I could talk to anyone and become the center of attention. And through that and continuing to do drag is when I realized I felt most comfortable dressing as a woman. So through drag is what helped me become who I am today.
For some, drag is a hobby. For others, a lifestyle. But last night, everyone could agree that it was an amazing show. Lindsay Iverson, Bison Information Network News.
Campus Attractions assures those that missed this year's performance will be able to see it again next year. The Block 9 project in downtown Fargo released some official artist renderings this week of what its outdoor plaza will look like when it's done. One picture shows what it will look like in a warmer month. The other showcases a winter scene. Other views of the entire project have already been released. The Block 9 building will be 235 feet tall, home to businesses and lofts, while the plaza outside will be home to a variety of activities. The whole project expects to be complete by the end of this year. Still to come on Bison Information Network News, NDSU is returning to Target Field, how the university will be represented at a Twins game this summer, plus a night of magic awaits at the Memorial Union. Featured yet again this summer at Target Field in Minneapolis. The Minnesota Twins are hosting NDSU Night, Thursday, June 18th. These are pictures from last year's promotion. Those who buy tickets through the special ticket package also get a co-branded baseball cap. Tickets are already available for the game, starting as low as $28. The visiting team will be the Twins' postseason opponent from New York, the Bronx Bombers. A common antibiotic has been linked to a higher risk of birth defects, according to a new study. Mandy Gaither has more in this week's Health Minute.
They're used to treat infections and most often prescribed when a patient is allergic to penicillin. But a new study published in the medical journal BMJ suggests women who are prescribed macrolides during the first 3 months of pregnancy had an increased risk of birth defects compared to those who are prescribed penicillin. The study analyzed data from more than 104,600 children born in the UK between 1990 and 2016. Their mothers were either prescribed penicillin or macrolides. The study found that prescribing macrolides, which include erythromycin, clarithromycin, and azithromycin to pregnant women during the first trimester, increased the risk of major malformations to 28 of 1,000 births compared to 18 per 1,000 births with penicillin. Specifically, the risk of cardiac malformations was higher. This study did not find a link between macrolides and neurodevelopmental disorders, and there was also no associated risk between birth defects and macrolides prescribed before conception. An author of the study says based on the findings, pregnant women and their doctors should find an alternative antibiotic depending on the type of infection. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
NDSU is inviting students to Harry Potter Night. The event will be in the Great Plains Ballroom at the Memorial Union tomorrow night from 9:30 to 1 a.m. Harry Potter Night will consist of building a stuffed animal from your wizarding house, which comes with its own matching scarf. There will also be Harry Potter-themed snacks being served like butter beer and chocolate wands. Besides activities to do and snacks to eat, movies from the Harry Potter series will be featured throughout the evening. The event is sponsored by the Campus Live Committee. If you're looking for more information, you can visit www.ndsu.edu/campusattractions. In entertainment news, RuPaul's next project and a Tinseltown classic back on the big screen. David Daniel has this week's Hollywood Minute.
Drag, meaning everything you put on is, in essence, something that was built. And once you're able to see yourself from outside of yourself, that's when the party begins.
RuPaul is ready to teach you to be fabulous. The actor, model, and TV personality is the latest celeb featured on the online education platform Masterclass. RuPaul's class looks at his own turbulent journey to self-love and self-improvement and teaches students how to do the same, in or out of drag. Info at masterclass.com.
When we all start taking it really seriously.
Jennifer Lawrence has a new gig. According to The Hollywood Reporter, she's set to star in the comedy Don't Look Up, about two scientists trying to warn people a meteor is about to hit the Earth. Adam McKay, who made The Big Short and Vice, wrote the script and will direct.
It had nothing to do with me. I mean, I just turned in the tapes.
Francis Ford Coppola's 1974 classic The Conversation is returning to theaters. Gene Hackman stars in the Oscar-nominated thriller as a surveillance expert who thinks the people he's spying on will be murdered. The great supporting cast includes a pre-Star Wars Harrison Ford. Brand new prints of The Conversation are set to play in 15 U.S. cities beginning March 20th. Check rialtopictures.com for details. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Up next in sports, how the men's basketball team kept up its winning ways, and the women's basketball player that made history.
At this time of year in any sports season, we tend to hear about how important it is to run through the finish line. The NDSU men's basketball team did just that last year and are looking to channel that same energy with only a few games left before Sioux Falls. Last Friday night, NDSU hosted Purdue Fort Wayne, and it was the home team that got out to the fast start in this one. Check out this series of events here in the first half. Vinny Shahid heaves it down the floor for Tyson Ward, who bats it to the corner in a perfect spot for Tyree Eady to hit the three. They couldn't have drawn it up any better if they'd tried. 8-0 start for NDSU here. Later, it's Shahid getting into the lane for a reverse layup off the glass right here. Nicely done. He had 19 in this one. The Bison are still up by 8 at this point. The Mastodons, though, they were never really out of this one until the end. Dylan Carl, look at the moves here. The spin move. Give him 2 and the foul. The visitors were keeping it close. But then, anything you can do, Sam Griesel also probably can do. Look at the moves, the fake, the jump hook, and traffic goes for him. NDSU takes it 80-70, and they've since won against South Dakota last night in Vermillion and will finish no lower than second in the conference standings. It cannot be disputed any longer the Bison women's basketball program is in a better condition now than it was at this time a year ago. The team led by 21 points at halftime against Purdue Fort Wayne last week, and it wouldn't get better for the visitors. Let's jump ahead here to the third quarter, where Circling Rimdahl will find freshman Olivia Skibble in the paint, and after a couple bounces off the rim, it goes for her. She was also fouled on the play, and the Bison are up by 25 at this point. Later, Skibble's again working down low, misses this shot, but Raquel Terrer Van Gool is there for the rebound and the layup off the glass. She had 12 points off the bench in this one. But the Mastodons, though, they'd also get some solid production from their bench as Hannah Hess in transition hits a three-pointer here, but it was just a little, too late. Just a minute later, Nicole Scales off a rebound will take this one end-to-end. The lefty layup is good for her, plus the foul. The Bison win this one big and now have more victories at this point in the season than they had all of last year. And while the women's basketball team getting the win last week was important, junior guard Michelle Geislerova achieved 2 major milestones by the end of the first quarter. She scored her 1,000th point of her career in the opening minute, becoming the 34th player in Bison history to reach 4 digits. Later in that first quarter, Geislerova broke the Division I record for consecutive made free throws. She's now made 72 in a row coming into tonight. The previous mark was 70. Coming into tonight, Geislerova needs 47 more to reach the all-time NCAA record of 118 that was set in 2018. The home season is now over for the NDSU wrestling team, who gave its fans a lot to cheer about over the weekend. The team started by upsetting 21st-ranked Stanford 28-13 Saturday, and then dominated Air Force to send off its seniors on Sunday. Against the Falcons, 4 of the Bison's 5 seniors stepped onto the mat, and all 4 won their decisions. Cam Sikora and Andrew Fogarty won in dominant fashion, while Cordell Eaton and Dan Stibrel muscled their way to victories late in the event. This is Stibrel here getting a takedown against Kane Hutchinson of Air Force, and coming onto your screen in just a little bit, another one for good measure. NDSU has not lost a team decision in a month and a half and have 2 more Big 12 collisions in the regular season. The Minnesota Wild have had quite the interesting month of February, to say the least. The team was in Vancouver last night trying to curb its recent trend of losing against the Canucks. To the third period here in a 2-2 tie, Vancouver will cycle this puck around before it gets to JT Miller, and he rifles one past Devin Dubnyk to put the home team up by a goal. But the visitors, though, they would respond. This shot goes wide before Alex Galchenyuk banks it in off a body in front. This one's tied, and it'd head to a shootout. Tied still in the 5th round. It's Galchenyuk on the backhand that would put it away for the Wild. 4-3 Minnesota wins as they keep pace in the playoff hunt. Still to come on Bison Information Network News, we'll have one last look at your weekend temperatures. NDSU's Department of Communication will have some of its faculty maintain their leadership positions.
Dr. Stevenson Beck and Dr. Zoltan Mojdik have been re-elected as chair of the department and director of graduate studies. They will hold these positions for at least 3 more years. This was announced on the department's social media outlets earlier this week.
Big accomplishments for them. I've had good relationships, luckily, with those professors. Good on them for getting their positions re-upped. I'm happy for them.
Me too.
So let's take one last look at the weather for the area this week. We'll see a big warm-up this weekend with highs above freezing for the next few days. Along with those high temperatures, sunny skies are also expected. At the end of the next week of school, skies will turn cloudy, but the temperatures will stay consistent with the previous few days. We'll see a steady drop in temperatures into the next few days, with lows dipping down near zero and even below zero next Wednesday. So the moral of the story here, just enjoy this weekend's nice weather while it lasts. And I think that's probably the best advice anybody can have at this point. It's been a long time since we've had a consistent stretch of weather like this, like that. I'm looking forward to it. Not quite shorts weather. Are you going to be wearing shorts this weekend?
Maybe. I'll take 35 degrees any day in
I
February.
think anybody around here will. That is our news, weather, and sports from all of us at Bison Information Network. Thanks for watching.
Be sure to tune in next week and have a wonderful rest of your evening.